Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Listen, Terence Crawford will never get another big money fight. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. And I wish the best to Terence Crawford, man. I don't like how they kind of handled him, the media, as far as his career, and how people still to this day don't want to give him the credit he deserves. I mean, damn, how you going to make him the pound-for-pound best fighter in the sport of boxing, then come back and say that he has one of the weakest resumes when it comes to champions in boxing? I get it, two-time undisputed. I mean, that matters, doesn't it? What he did at 140. I get it. It's not his fault if the champions at 140, if we feel those champions weren't the best caliber fighter. I mean, you got to fight what's there. It's like with Roy Jones Jr., you got to fight what's there in front of you. It's just like guys up at cruiserweight. I mean, you got to fight what's there. You may not have the huge names, the guys who are in the ring and doing spectacular stuff and just, catching your eyes with the style. But what I'll say is this. If you still don't want to give this man credit, okay, well, at least up to Earl Spence. I mean, you got to give him credit for Earl Spence, right? Don't we? But my thing is, outside of Earl Spence, what happens for Terence Crawford now? That's why I say I just don't think Crawford's going to get another big money fight. Like, he goes into the rematch with Earl Spence. I don't know what kind of money's going to be there. I don't know what kind of guarantee is going to be there. I don't know anyone who has had an opportunity to view the contract to know what the purse split's going to be. I mean, I don't know, because there seems to be a loss of interest in the rematch. Plus, it's gone on so long to where all the hype and all the talk and everything has died down. There are some people out here who are talking about Crawford and Spence, but they lie in their videos. They just come up with bullshit like, oh, Terence Crawford is the new Chuck Norris. He doesn't do push-ups, he pushes the earth down. Like, shut up. They don't have nothing to give y'all, so they make up bullshit. So I'm telling you right now, this is for me, just having a conversation. The fact that this Earl Spence rematch, like, almost, I'd say out of every 100 posts I read, maybe 85 of them say they don't want to see it. It's either they don't want to see it, or Crawford's going to destroy Earl Spence, or Earl Spence should retire. There's that 15% who's like, Earl Spence he's gonna come back stronger than ever at 154. You'll see. But then I'm hearing the fight's supposed to take place at 147. So again, I don't really know what to believe. Even if someone from Terence Crawford's camp says the fight is contracted at 147, I believe that. That doesn't mean it's going to happen at 147. But what I do think is, outside of Earl Spence, what does Crawford do? You see, he's starting to remind me a little bit. When I think about Deontay Wilder, remember Deontay Wilder? Man, there's just so much going on, so many good things. I want to tell you, but I can't tell you right now. Man, I'm just so blessed to be in the position I'm in. Blah, 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 blah. But all that's gone away now for Deontay Wilder. But you don't hear Crawford talking like that. Man, I'm so blessed to be in the position I'm in. Man, I got so much going on. I can't tell you what it is. Man, I wish I could tell you. You know why Crawford's not saying that? Because he doesn't have that going on. This shit about Canelo. Now, I've done some videos and I was like, hey, that's probably the direction this is going to go. But when I look at it now, I'm not so sure Crawford gets that Canelo fight. This thing about Tszyu, I really think Crawford is going to be looking at having to fight at 154 or go and fight Boots Ennis. I mean, look, that Boots Ennis fight the ship hasn't completely sailed. Crawford can still make 147. It's a bit of a struggle. 154 is more the sweet spot for him. But to be honest with you, the biggest fight for Terence Crawford, in my opinion, I'm talking about a realistic fight. Let me pull something up while I'm telling you this, right? I think the most realistic fight for Terence Crawford is going to be probably Boots Ennis, man. Even the Jamel Charlo, I don't think that's there. Tszyu, maybe, what I'm saying? Maybe Tszyu. Maybe that fight is there. But I'm just not so sure I'm just not so sure, man, for Terence Crawford, and because like I'm looking right now, it's just because he doesn't want to just fight anybody. So let's take a look, right? Let's take a look. Let's take a look together. Because I'm watching. I figured Crawford would have been back in the damn ring by now, but man, all this crap going on. He and Spence, no one knows what's going to happen there, but I just don't think the interest is there. I just don't think the money's there. I think Crawford and Spence are both going to be disappointed unless they can get that shit picked up in Saudi. Then they can make some good money. But I still don't know if the Saudis are going to pay them the kind of money that they would pay, that they're paying like Usyk and Fury. I just don't think he's going to be there. Jerron, Ennis, and Crawford, I still think that's a fight to make. I'm going to be honest with you. Ortiz Jr. is up at 154 now. Stanley Eunice, I just don't think Crawford wants that fight. Santillan, Crowley, these guys are beneath Terence Crawford. I'm just going to be real with you. The only two out of here who aren't beneath Terence Crawford is Ennis and Spence. And Ennis, because just stylistically, man, that's a fight I want to see. But really, as far as names-wise, if Crawford is put on a pedestal as the pound-for-pound best fighter right now, none of these guys deserve to be in the ring with him. None of them. He deserves to get a big money fight. But when you bubble up now at 154, right? So let's take a look at 154. Crawford being let's just say, the superstar that he is, who can he fight at 154 pounds? No, let's be real. Who's the superstar here for Terence Crawford? Charlo is definitely a fight that could happen. But if you take a look here, Charlo only has a WBC and WBA. Those other two ones, we already know what happened to IBF, and Tszyu is the WBO. So maybe Crawford says, you know what? I will go after Jamel. But the problem is, Jamel has, he got some people that he's got to see. He's got some things he has to deal with if he wants to keep that WBC and WBA belt. But that could be a fight for Crawford and Tszyu. But I just don't think the Tszyu fight is a big money fight that Crawford wants. Now, if he goes over to Australia and fights Tszyu, there may be 20-25 million on the table for Terence Crawford. But at the same time, I just think the buzz has kind of died down. I think the Terence Crawford buzz has died down. Now, and with what he wants in big names, I mean, him fighting Mendoza, Fundora, Lubin, Ramos, Madrimov. Nobody wants to see Harrison, Soro, Conwell, Bohachuk. Like, who wants to see those fights? Terence Crawford not fighting those guys. So let's go up to 160. See, now we're getting ourselves in a situation here. Now we look at Terence Crawford, jumping up weight divisions to where he may be at a disadvantage because he's just not. He's not as big as these guys because some of these guys walk around heavier than what Terence Crawford walks around. Alim Kanuli, that could be a very interesting fight. But how much money is in that fight? Because not many people know about Alim Kanuli, although he's a terror at 160 pounds. Okay, Adamus, he's another monster at 160 pounds. Lara seems to be on his way out. He's not messing with nobody. Eubank Jr. could be a good fight for him because there's some big money there. I think Crawford beats Eubank Jr. But outside of that, why would he fight any of these guys? Now we bubble up to where we know Terence Crawford shouldn't be at. But this is really, when I think about Terence Crawford, and this may sound crazy, but these are the kind of fights I think Terence Crawford really, where the money could be at for him, it could be a bit juicy. Could you imagine Terence Crawford and Canelo, right? A lot of people, I don't think Canelo really wants to fight anymore. I think the ship has started to sail away. I don't think it's quite gotten out of reach, but I think that's the kind of fight Crawford wants, and I just don't think it's going to happen, man. There's got to be some huge money on the table. I think an interest from Saudi to put that fight on. I think the fight happens because Canelo, as much as he says Crawford's too small, Canelo likes to fight small guys. You get out of here. I think Canelo looking to fight Inoue this year sometime. So Canelo will fight small guys. Crawford, we know, will go take that Canelo fight. But what's the chances of him getting that fight? PBC not going to put up enough money for Canelo to fight no damn Terence Crawford. So I think an outside interest would have to get involved to really make that fight. And what I mean by that, they got to put up the kind of money to where both of them will have to say, I don't care what weight a person comes in at. You pay me 50 million, 100 million, I'm taking the fight. Now, Benavidez is way too big for Crawford. Even Crawford said that. Benavidez is like a goddamn crocodile in the ring. Crawford doesn't want to mess around with no Benavidez. Caleb Plant and Crawford, man, could be interesting. Morrell, these guys just seem to be too big to me, in my opinion. But that being said, out of all the names we talked about, the only ones that seem to be like it would make sense for Terence Crawford to get the kind of money he wants is one, Canelo, maybe Eubank Jr., and I think Tszyu or Jamel. And then you come down here to 147, Ennis. So it's Ennis, Tszyu, Jamel, Canelo. Yeah, Ennis, we know he's going to rematch Spence. So you got Ennis, you got Tszyu or Jamel Charlo, Eubank Jr., so Spence, Ennis, Tszyu, Jamel, Eubank Jr., or Canelo. So that's only like five different opponents, man. It's not a lot. There's not a lot there for Terence Crawford. It's crazy. But we'll see what happens, man. That's just my 2 cents. I would like, you know what, out of all the fighters out there, the one guy who's stayed in shape year round, who's, when he gets in the ring, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be one-sided. He goes in the phone booth. He turns into Southpaw Man. Never hear no shit about him and his wife. No shit about him and his kids. He's still back at home around the same people he grew up with. He's not a guy here trying to pull up to a damn event in a damn Rolls Royce. He's not out here looking like he's shucking and jiving like some damn idiot. He's out here, man. He's a normal guy. He's a humble guy. I don't see why more people don't get behind this guy and support him. The only reason why the people are kind of behind him now, as far as with the conversation, is because he's forced that on everybody by dominating everybody and getting the biggest win of his career in a one-sided, I would say that demolishment of Earl Spence. He just went in there and totally tranquilized him. But if he wouldn't have done that, nobody would be talking about him. Not the way that they're kind of talking about him now, because they're still hating on this guy. But as far as him and the big money fight, I'm just not so sure it's going to happen. Because he's not talking the way Deontay Wilder was talking. Like I was saying earlier about Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder had huge money opportunities on the table. AJ, possible Fury again, Francis Ngannou. Even now, Deontay Wilder can go fight in Africa and make huge money because they love him over there. So it's not over for Deontay Wilder unless he chooses to pull the plug on his career. But for Terence Crawford, I don't know if Terence Crawford can do those things. So we'll see what the future holds for Terence Crawford. But I'm not optimistic on him getting the type of money he feels he deserves. Now, are there fights out there for him? Yeah, Terence Crawford can fight all kind of guys from 147, probably right up to 160, maybe only the one person at 168 he'll go up for. But there's a lot of guys he could fight. But I'm talking about the big money fights. There's only like 5 of them out there, like I said. Maybe Ennis, Tszyu, Charlo, Eubank Jr., Canelo. That's really how I see it. Anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.